copies of Angel Serenity. You got your 3 Augur Boluses, your 1 Restoration Angel, your 4 Thragtusk, 3 copies of Terminus, 3 copies of Supreme Verdicts. There's 1 Cyclonic Rift, 1 Attention Sphere, 1 Massive Components, some Counter Magic, some Farseeks, all that stuff. So stuff we've been seeing over the past couple of months. And 1 card that you do see in play as well, as you see Jace Architect of Thought being put on the stack, is Sands of Delirium.
Yep, we've seen a little bit of this card. Definitely a potential breaker in the slow mirror matches. In the same way that Jace Architect of Thought sorry, not Architect of Thought, Memory Adept.
Memory Adept, yes.
is popular in the blue mirrors. Delirium Sands has been showing up in the same spot.
Yeah.
Except you can't actually attack it either.
Yeah, that's kind of the unique thing, right? There's an opportunity. There's a cost with Jace, it being 5 mana, it not coming down early, but of course, all you have to do is click a button, it mills 10.
Yep.
Versus Sands of Delirium, it's your entire turn, or it's all of your mana every turn to take care of that. So we see a Detention Sphere here from Scott, looking to take out that Tameo that is likely locking down the Sands of Delirium.
Yeah.
As we are cutting in here, so we don't know exactly where we're at, but think twice. In response to the Detention Sphere, does not find a counterspell, and so Sands of Delirium looks like it might be online starting next turn.
And we still got the Augur Bolas piece in the meantime, too.
Yeah, so don't ignore that.
We got them on both fronts.
Now we just need some poison counters, and it's over.
Yeah.
Now looking at Matt's deck list, is this kind of a take like what Nick Spagnuolo was doing at the Invitational with a lot of Planeswalkers and that sort of thing?
I mean, it's in a similar sort of space. The removal suite's a little bit different, and some of the cantripping, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, basically try to play a bunch of lands, have 4 Revelations, and no creatures. I mean, Matthew has 1 Snapcaster Mage, but in general, play no creatures. Try to dead a bunch of your opponent's draws and grind the game out with your Planeswalkers and your 4 Drown Yards.
4 copies of the Drown Yard. Right,
yes.
So, Matt up a game here, in playing a 4 Drown Yard deck, and you see that milling each other, attacking each other's library, probably more important than attacking each other's life total, as we do see Scott actually play a Drown Yard as well, and has boarded into Sands of Delirium. So you can see both players, they're not going for the life total.
Yes.
They're going for the deck. As we see Dissipate here take care of that end of turn Sphinx's Revelation. We're going to see Terminus.
Okay.
Get that Augur Bolas out of here.
Got that Terminus burning a hole in my pocket.
Gotta cast it.
Gotta cast it.
And we're going to see a Sands for 5 here on the end step. And what this does is we do see the 5 cards turned over. Scott shields are down. Not sure if Matt has a great way to take advantage of it.
It's still just so hard for this Esper deck to, like, what's he gonna? Even if you what's Matt's best play there? To revelate for some cards? Okay, you still don't have anything on the board, and Sands is gonna outrace your Planeswalker ultimate in theory. So, just
it should.
Yeah,
it should. Based on what we think is going to happen.
You want to Revelate, okay, it's okay, but it's not that good.
It's funny, it's almost like Revelation is dealing himself damage.
Yeah.
Where players are starting at 60 life because we're actually, all they care about is the size of their library.
Do either of these players have an elixir?
An important
the Esper
card
deck does not.
Important card to be searching for. I have no elixirs in my main deck or sideboard either.
Matthew has a Psychic Spiral.
Okay.
Okay.
But it is in the graveyard, as we're going to see a Jace Memory Adept trying to Legend Rule the Jace Architect of Thought. And Dissipate says, no sir.
Some more Sands.
All the Sands. The Hourglass of Time.
Yeah.
Away 6 more cards go for Matt. I know this feeling all too well. It's a very frustrating card to lose to.
The blue fireball?
Yeah, it's really, really frustrating. You like to call it a blue fireball, but at Grand Prix Boston Worcester, my opponent was Black-Red Tormented Soul. And I stopped the beats, but couldn't stop those beats.
Couldn't stop Plan B?
Yeah. So you can call it a blue fireball if you want. It didn't feel too blue when it was happening to me. As we see Jace Architect of Thought use its second ability, revealing the top 3, and letting Matt choose which one. or 2 will I be getting?
Magic players, this is a last call to sign up for our Legacy Challenge.
Yeah,
Once again, this is a
assuming Matt can
last
actually
call to sign
destroy
up for our Legacy Challenger here.
a Sands, this is the most logical split.
This
Yeah.
comes Amy now.
So we'll go ahead and put the Sands and the Cavern of Souls back to the bottom. And we'll see exactly what Scott wants to do here. Most of Scott's turns have just been reactive as he takes 2 more from Hollow Fountain here. Just being reactive and just saying, if you don't do anything, I'm just going to Sands you for infinite.
Yep.
You know, and that's just his plan. And that, I mean, that's a rock and a hard place if you're an Esper control deck.
Yeah, especially since presumably he needs to like draw a bunch of cards to find enough action to win in time.
Yeah.
And that's just accelerating the clock that the Sands is presenting.
Again, it feels like, you know, that in those movies, we're in the boat that's sinking and the water's coming up.
Right.
You don't know what to do.
Just passes again.
Big Sands. So much sand.
Except for 10?
It's either 10 or 11. We're at least 10. Yeah, that's a 10 ball. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Feels like Matt has a lot of Wrath effects left in his deck. He's flipping over a lot of Supreme Verdicts and Terminuses.
Yeah, kind of a surprise to see that many, especially in the sideboard of the game, right? Where you know players are stepping away from creatures and moving forward into this type of effect. This is what we've seen in this format for the past couple of months, especially with the adaptation of Jace Memory deck. People are just stacking each other's library now. As we do see Glacial Fortress, Dissipate, and Augur of Bolas are the cards revealed to the Jace Architect of Thought. Dissipate immediately going to Scott's hand. We're going to put those 2 fairly relevant cards on the bottom of Scott's deck.
You're going to take a little gander at the graveyard here. Checking all the good work the Sands have done.
Get the information for the next game moving forward, even though there are only 11 minutes here, so we might be falling into draw status, but it is good to have that information. Make sure you don't lose to something that you didn't expect.
Yep. Also, just admire all your good work.
Yes.
Build that over, build that thing over, build that thing over. It looks like Matt has, Tribute to Hunger. He has so many anti-creature measures in his hand. You know, I don't know if he was not anticipating Sands, but his deck is certainly not set up to handle it. That's for sure.
No, not at all. 2, 3, bunch of cards, double digits.
Yeah, it looks like he's milling now and leaving up Dissipate.
Yep. We're gonna do a quick library count.
9 is what I counted there?
I counted either 9 or 10. So it really comes to a point where, I mean, he's in a situation where I don't think he can win. I count his library. There, Temple Garden comes into play on tap, knocking Scott down to a healthy 17. And yeah, you're just going to see Sands Delirium, like, right now for the rest of the library. And that should do it. I mean, yeah.
All right. Game 3. Sands Delirium. I think we can safely say pretty awesome there.
It's kind of interesting if you want to be on Sands or if you want to be on Jace Memory Adept as far as what your mill card is going to be.
Yeah.
And obviously, because once you get into the mid game, you know, those turns 4 to 7 to 8, you know, Sands Delirium does a nice job of sliding under counter magic because Mana Leak doesn't exist. Only really Negate does. But the trade-off is that you have to, of course, dedicate all of your mana to be able to use that card. You don't have to do that with Jace. So, I mean, how do you feel one way or the other? You know, which card would you want to be on?
Well, it really depends on the matchup. You know, Jace Memory Adept is the type of card where if you and I are playing, let's say, Blue-White Flash Mirror, both of us can sculpt the game in such a way where we get Jace and we have the 3 turns of breathing room we need to activate it. Because once it's in play, your mana commitment is over. It's just there. Whereas, there's no way, if we're playing Blue-White Flash, Sands would be a joke. If someone playing Sands, like, all right, I'm going to spend my mana actually doing things on the board.
Sure.
There's just no way you could ever sand someone out in that kind of rematch. When you start talking about the ban control, Esper control style of decks, I think Sands is considerably better. challenging to remove, slips under counter magic, and can't get legend ruled. I mean, there's a whole bunch of more positive aspects to that card. But it is much more narrow, because I think you can really only bring it in against dedicated control decks. You can't bring it in against the blue-white, red flash decks where Memory Adept is very good as well. So it depends what type of deck you're metagaming for.
Interesting, the trade-off. I mean, it looked like that game. That game that we just jumped into, Sans was phenomenal. Whereas maybe Jace would have slid under in time, depending on what was in Matt's hand.
Matt could have just played his own Jace.
Yeah,
and gotten out from under it.
Yeah, and just taking care of it right away. So yeah, there's definitely that trade-off between those two cards. But in this particular matchup, I think I agree with you that Sans is here is probably where you want to be, especially if Matt's going to keep his deck configured the way it was in the last game, which is just a lot of creature removal. And we saw at the end of that game, he had Tribute to Hunger, 2 copies of Feeling of Dread. Just a lot of cards that, for lack of better analogy, didn't really have any text.
Yeah, he had a bunch of nonsense.
How did you do anything?
Scott's just sitting there with counters in his hand, drawing a bunch of cards, and just using Sans. You have Tribute to Hunger in your hand. Just showed up to the wrong fight with this stuff.
Knife gunfight,
yeah,
as it were.
Gun sand fight.
Yeah. Can't beat the Sandman.
Yeah,
Can't beat the Sandman with a gun.
Fight, yeah.
I saw Spider-Man 3, unfortunately. Yeah, you can't beat the Sandman with a gun.
No, you can't. You actually can't beat him with anything. He's actually one of Spider-Man's more anemic villains in my mind, because any competent person with Sandman's power would just kill Spider-Man within 5 seconds of running
I can't imagine losing if I was Sandman, ever.
All right, just turn into sand, go into your nose, into your brain, come out, done, game.
That's cheating. That's cheating. I still have a fair fight. I would make Spider-Man just expend all his energy trying to beat me.
Sandman's incompetence in the comic books is a source of constant frustration for me.
At least he has a nice shirt.
That's true. He does have a nice shirt.
Not as nice as our Blazers, but again, what is?
Attention Legacy Challenge players.
So we do see both players taking a look at their opening 7 cards. Looks like we got Keepers and we got a Glacial Fortress to start the game. 6 minutes and ticking, Patrick.
Yeah, I would be stunned if we were able to finish this in time.
I would also be very surprised.
We would have to have some pretty spectacular sanding in this game.
And I don't even see that hectic pace. That we saw a little bit earlier between I think it was Mark's match.
Yep.
Mark really pushed the pace along in Game 3, so we're going to see an Augur Bolas here. You don't see that frenetic pace that you need to when you have what is now 2 minutes and 36 seconds left on the clock.
You see Scott has boarded in 2 copies of Pithing Needle. That gives him a lot of cover against the waves that Mac will win the game. Most notably Planeswalkers and the Valley of Drowned Yard. He can actually cover those cards.
Yep.
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more Pithing Needles in control sideboards in this format.
Me too.
Since
Me too.
Almost all of these matchups revolved around either Drowned Yard or Planeswalkers or Sand. Something that Pithing Needle is an awesome answer to.
So we do see a Farseek here from Scott. He's sacking that Evolving Wilds there for Matt to get that mana.
Scott finds, I'm assuming we're getting a Hallowfound here because he's a little short on blue. Both players, conscious of the clock, but not a lot to be done also.
See a second Drown Yard there. You see Jace, Architect of Thought. It's going to slide in through here underneath Counter Magic. We're going to see it just, we're going to reveal some cards. Thought we may brush it up a little bit, but Drowned Catacomb, Nefali, Drown Yard, and Detention Sphere are the cards revealed.
I assume this just gets split Detention Sphere lands. Oh no, we're going to say, oh, he's trying to cut him off colored mana. I see.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, yeah, no, I because of the glare, I didn't notice that Matt was actually missing colored mana.
Yeah.
So Scott mulling over his turn.
See Alchemist Refuge. We'll see a Jace take care of the other Jace. Just passing the turn back.
Not bothering to attack because Tamio could be a card, so no reason to send your guy in. Also can't win in time, so
yeah. It feels like these two players are just kind of going through this exercise here. I think they both have come to terms with the fact that they are going to be drawing here. I can't imagine in what world we're able to finish this game.
Yep. Bang.
But in for one now. We do see a Thrag Tusk. Syncopate's going to take care of that. It's going to get removed from the game via Syncopate. Matt will draw his card, and we'll be moving into extra turns for these guys. Assuming there's no time extension for them, we'll be moving into that phase of the game now. Hallowed Fountain coming to play untapped for Matt.
And here is Supreme Verdict for 3. Or sorry, Species of Revelation rather for 3. I wish they had not named those two awesome blue-white cards. Both cards that start with the letter S.
That's too hard for you?
You get it mixed up.
In your old age?
Everyone gets it mixed up, yeah.
I never have. Check the tape.
All right. Gladly. I mean, I don't want to go through all the tapes of our blue-white mirror matches
Blue-white mirrors, yeah.
you and I commentated on. But
we will
Thrag Tusk.
Thrag Tusk on turn 1 of turns, moving Scott up to, I believe it's 25, and in there with the Augur of Bolas. Turn 2 will be for Matt.
And both of these players sort of just going through, there's a Supreme Verdict.
Kill that stuff. I'll take my beast token.
For the Legacy Open tomorrow. If you'd like to pre-register tonight and skip the line, come up and see me over inside. Once again, we are doing pre-registration for the Legacy Open tomorrow. Just come see me over inside.
Die now up to turn 3. Attack with our beast. That's going to get met by Azorius Charm. Again, another player really in a position to win.
See, we're making sure that we're doing everything properly here.
Yep. It could matter. You never know.
Agreed?
I'm actually pretty sure you do know.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. Not quite sure what is going on here.
I see Azorius Charm. I see it targeting a beast token. That's about all I see. We'll get confirmation from our spotter exactly what is taking place for you guys at home. Make sure we know exactly what is going on here for you. Don't want any confusion, as these players will be taking a draw momentarily.
Yeah, there would have to be some sort of huge procedural error for this outcome to be something other than a draw.
Yeah, can't imagine anything other than a draw taking place here. But I mean, you never know. You never know. Sometimes teams come back with 30 seconds left of the clock to make it go to overtime. So you never know.
I mean, I actually have to be working on the assumption here that something serious has happened. Oh, I think there is. Both players, I mean, there seems to be a pretty jovial mood at the table here, so.
Yep. Well, we'll have confirmation from you guys, from our table spotter and the head judge as well, exactly what's happening on there, because they're sorting some things out for you. But we don't want to leave you guys there just looking.